Hi there. My name is Will Stoner. I'm with the Office of Volunteer Engagement with AARP. I'm the Director of Outreach, Development, Training, and Innovation. But who I am is less important than who you are. You're a prospective volunteer for Friendly Voice. And we couldn't be more excited to have you hearing a little bit more about the program to decide if this is right for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the program is and isn't, some of the technical aspects that are needed, and start you on your journey of training. So without further ado, let's get started. So why Friendly Voice? Well, with the lockdown order on March 13th, 2020, we knew that there were going to be throngs of people who are feeling even more lonely and isolated than prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, because isolation existed long before and unfortunately will exist long after. As you can see from the statistic there, unfortunately, 1 in 5 older adults is reported feeling isolated. And you can see the negative health effects that that has. It's like smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So AARP responded to this crisis by creating an opportunity for volunteers to help and assist, and for people to be able to call in and ask for help. We use a platform called Zendesk. And what you do is you log in through your computer with a personalized email address and passcode, and it connects you to the Zendesk system. And calls are actually made through the computer, not using your home phone. And what's great is the Zendesk platform for managing calls coming in and going out also allows us to take some notes. But what it does is it also makes sure that your information is still private. They'll only know your first name and they'll never see your phone number or know where you're calling from. Some of the technical requirements, you do need a computer, and it's best if you have Windows 10 operating. The other is you need really strong internet service, because you are making calls through your internet service provider. So those are the two basics. Your volunteer admins who are running this program, they'll give you some more of the details of what you have and what you need, and you may have already had some of that vetting done. So let's talk a little bit about what it is and what it isn't, the program. We'll set you on a path for a Zendesk training so you can spend some more time with some volunteers and potentially one-on-one, but group setting to see the platform, learn the platform, and get more acquainted with it. And then also we have a training where we talk about making good calls or approaches to making calls. So let's start with what it is. Well, a friendly voice is a voice to those who are lonely and want to connect. Assurance that someone cares to those who are lonely and isolated. And it can be a thought partner, which means, hey, have you thought about this? Oh, you're feeling lonely today. Have you done X? Have you done Y? Have you thought about calling this person or that person? Just giving them some ideas on what they can do to fight their loneliness and isolation. Well, that's as much advice as we really give, as that thought partner advice, because what we are not is we are not a crisis hotline. We are not a resource hotline. Our intent is not to start off by trying to connect people to local community resources. We do have some vetted resources that our Office of General Counsel has approved to let people know about. It's very basic, but in a pinch, it's very helpful. We're also not a counseling service. We're not here to help someone who is feeling like they're in a crisis or coming up on a crisis. We're truly a friendly chat. And what's great about Friendly Voice is that it really does fulfill an important niche, in that there are a lot of wonderful community programs out there that are a crisis hotline, that do offer resources or counseling. We wanted to make sure that if someone just wanted to vent for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or just talk about nothing, they could. This idea came about I want to say 7 years ago now. I was working with a group on Long Island where we created a program for caregivers, because what was happening is we were hearing often that caregivers were just feeling guilty about calling their loved ones and complaining about how exhausted they were or how frustrated with Margaret. If your name's Margaret, forgive me, that's my favorite name to use whenever I give an example. So we thought we would create a reassurance program for caregivers where they could just call up and complain if they wanted to, or celebrate the good stuff that was going on when they were driving home, let's say in rush hour traffic, trying to beat the traffic to get home to their loved one to take care of them. And as you know, if you know have met any caregiver or have been one yourself, it is a labor of love, but it can be really demanding, and it can tear you apart. So this reassurance program was super successful, completely volunteer led and run, and it's built on that model. And we're really excited to be able to offer this to people who are just looking for a friendly chit chat. And um, that's a little bit about what it is and isn't. So the Zendesk training. Well, we do it live through Zoom where you connect and a trainer shares their screen like I'm doing here with a PowerPoint, but they show you the system and they go through the examples, and you have full documentation on steps that you can take when you are returning a call, how to make notes and how to categorize a certain call. And it's done in one session. It's pretty easy to use. It's pretty intuitive, especially if you use the computer at all. And we'll make sure that you're comfortable with the system before you're fully authorized to make any calls. And what's great about this volunteer admin team, really the nuts and bolts of the program, keep it going and hold it together, is they're even offering one-on-one training when necessary, because they want to make sure that you're comfortable and you're not feeling like you're thrown into the deep end. Ongoing support from our volunteer lead administrators. These ladies are amazing. Can't say enough good things. I appreciate them very much because of the support that they give to people like you as a prospect or a new volunteer, and to the ongoing volunteers that have been making thousands of calls. They're there and they have a good ear for all the issues that they're facing or dealing with, and want to help them too. So really the support is there. We want to let you know that it's there and it's accessible, and they want to make sure that you succeed and feel great about the program and your volunteer opportunity. Approaches to making calls, good calls. Well, again, remember, we're not a crisis center, we're not a resource center or counseling service, right? So we don't want to offer advice. That's not what we're here for. It's like, if it's your bestie or your friend, and she's asking or he's asking for advice, I mean, that's what you do. That's not what this program is. We're not trying to advise anybody of anything, because once we make advice or give advice, if things went askew, we don't want to be responsible for that. Let me just say that. So we avoid that. We avoid those types of conversations, and we say, well, what would you do in this situation? And that's where we become that thought partner for them. Instead of answering the question, we get them to think a little bit about, well, what would you do? But even in its basic sense, a friendly voice is just a great 20-minute chit chat about nothing. The weather, taking a walk. What movies do you like? Where do you travel to when you could travel? Where would you like to travel to first when you can travel again? We avoid all those health-related conversations or, the conversations that bring people down. So what you'll see when you're doing these trainings is that we make notes that are pertinent to, hey, Margaret really likes to talk about painting or playing guitar or listening to music, whatever the music is. So that if you're talking to Margaret as the next agent, volunteer agent, you know that you could simply look at that list and go, I know what Margaret likes to talk about. Her favorite flavor of ice cream is Rocky Road. So just little things like that. And again, if you need one-on-one training so that you feel comfortable with how we convey a friendly voice and a chit chat, certainly available. And again, ongoing support. So that's it. That's the intro. Pretty basic on purpose. We want you to know that we appreciate you considering this as a volunteer opportunity. And we have about 100 volunteers right now who absolutely love the program, and they get a great deal out of it, as much sometimes as the people who are calling. And Since last year, about this time, we've made more than 36,000 phone calls and had, I want to say, 18,000 conversations. Really good news and really bad news, right? It's a double-edged sword. It means that there's so much need and there's such a strong desire to have that connection because they're so disconnected from their community, whether it's because of the pandemic or because of their own isolation. Now, I know, we're at a point right now, it's May, where the corner might be in sight. My hope is that what this doesn't do when people do start going back to their everyday lives and interacting more in their community, that the people who are still not interacting and are lonely and isolated, it doesn't really hit them or hit them any harder because of the realization that their loneliness and isolation was not related to the pandemic, but it was just something that's in their lives. So that's why this program is so important. That's why this role is so important. A friendly voice, friendly chit chat about nothing, but it's a conversation about nothing that means everything to those people. And we hope you'll join us in this journey and this opportunity, and you're going to make a lot of friends along the way. From all the volunteers that are participating, especially the volunteer admins who are such a wonderful group of ladies and working so hard to give you the support you'll need. And of course, people that you talk to on the other end. Some of them will make you laugh. Some might make you cry, but for the most part, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon and enjoy your journey. We'll see you soon. Bye.